Welcome back to Hurley's Hobbies. We're gonna start on the wings for the Balsa USA quarter scale Cub. The reason why I was gonna jump off and start working on my and finish my Corsair up, but I decided I wanted to silk and dope it instead of using the Oratex. I've never done silk and dope before, so I want to practice on this plane and not the Corsair. The Corsair is a really expensive plane. I did get the Ortec, did it on one of the pieces, and I'm not happy with it. It didn't turn out like it used to. Probably maybe because I haven't done it in like 6 years, but I'm not very happy with it. So I want to try the silk and dope first, and then and see how that goes. And because I plan on keeping that plane for a long time. Let's get back to the build. All right, I got some of the stuff laid out here, but I'm going to pick it up and get it out of the way so I can do some explaining. Okay, first of all, it says it comes with 48-inch, uh, 3/32 by 2 3/4 by 48 inches long, but there is none. You have to splice it together on a. I splice it on a 45 to make sure it's straight. I had to splice that. It says the 3/8 by quarter. It said there's 40-inch pieces of that, which there wasn't. So I had to splice that. And then there's quarter by quarter. That was supposed to be 48 inches long, and there's none in the kit. So I had to splice that. So, and then also the front says it has pieces 48 inches long, which it doesn't. So you have to splice that. So that's the first thing I did. I did make my W1 rib, W3 rib. I put my blind nuts in. I did those on both of them and got those done. So that's about the only, besides splicing and that's the only thing I did ahead besides mounting stuff on the table. You take that 2 3/4 and after you splice it together, you cut it to the end of this rib, which is W5 on the outside of it and on the outside of that one. This is 3/32 by 2 by 21, which this is the piece that I cut off. You got to cut that down and pin it to the plans. I pinned this to the plans. I have a quarter by 3/8. I pinned that down to the plans. I pinned it in between the ribs. This quarter by quarter, you take some of the shims that you had left over from cutting two of these, splicing this together. You're going to have a piece left over. You cut it into like 1 inch strips and like a 1/4 inch wide, because you need to shim this up all the way down. They show only doing it every other rib, but I do it every rib. I don't want no dips in it. And then I got some extra ones left over because we're gonna have to shim. We're gonna have to put them under these ribs when we get back here, because this rear spar, which I haven't cut the length yet, because I want to butt it to this rib when I do it. This goes flat on the table, but the rib will still be up. So before you glue them, set some shims back here just so you know it's not walking off. So that's just a little bit of explaining. I'm going to get this out of the way. Now we're going to start laying out our ribs. We're going to start with this one. The balsa goes to the outside. You got to make sure you make a left and a right, so they'll be opposite of each other. So it's best to make them both at the same time. You butt with your plans at the bottom. Set your level or your 1, 2, 3 block there, and you want a 1/32 at the top to set your dehedral. And that's where that's going to go. So we got that one in. So I'm going to get this one in and I'm going to glue it in place with thick CA. The reason why they want you to leave these up is because later on you're going to come through with the 3/32 balsa after you're done, and you're going to lay balsa over top of the spar and over top every rib, 1/4 inch wide strips. You're going to strip all of it, so you got to leave it up now, otherwise it'll cause a problem later. Now that you got to this rib, you got to join a W1 rib and a W2 rib. You got to join them together. If you're going to put glue on, I'd put glue on this one. Just make sure you're gluing them the right way. It says in there to use thick CA for these, thin CA for back here, for here and here. I do have my saran wrap on the table all the way across for both wings. Now we got to cut our W5 rib. The reason why I didn't cut it out before, because I didn't want to accidentally mix this up with something else. I'm going to let that set for a little bit. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the struts. But just so you know, there is a little bit of a taper to them. I don't know. I didn't really explain it in that video. They do have a taper like the wing, and the backside is rounded a little bit. The next thing is the fuselage. Between the firewall and the cab, I didn't make it to scale. I just went straight with it. I should have explained that in the video what I was doing. There is actually a triangle piece that goes in there that's straight with the fuselage. I'll bring that up here. It's right there. Because they have you put a little tiny tab out of that 16th by quarter to come out too on top of it. But this little triangle piece right here is straight with the fuselage, and then it tapers. Well, I didn't want to do mine that way. I just wanted it tapered. So if you're going for more to scale look, to make sure you do that triangle in there. All right, well, I wanted to show you on the plane too. See how mine goes right straight? Because I wanted it more streamlined. But it actually comes out on an angle here. It comes down and it's straight with the fuselage, and then it tapers over. It comes out straight, then tapers over. And there's a little piece of this 1/4x8 that comes out on top of that before, and I think you feather it away, sand it away to on an angle, that little 1/8" piece. But I just wanted to explain that to you. I wanted mine more streamlined, so that's why I did it this way, but it's not scale. So if you're going for a more scale look, you're going to want to put that triangle piece in there. And that's why I don't understand why when they made this, they didn't just inform that in it, but they did. Well, that's going to do it for this video. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe, hit that bell, like, and comment if you would, please. And keep building.